Hi, I'm Kiyo, and welcome back to the channel, where I share the wisdom I gained from my previous 8 lives. This story is about a blacksmith. There was once a blacksmith named Tariq, who was known across 3 villages for one thing: his temper. When iron didn't bend the way he wanted, he'd hurl it across the forge. When customers complained about prices, his voice would shake the walls. When his apprentice made mistakes, the boy would flinch before Tariq even opened his mouth. Tariq wasn't a bad man. He was a powerful man who had never learned to hold his own power. One evening, an old merchant passed through the village and stopped at his forge to repair a wagon wheel. He watched Tariq in silence for a long time, watched him grunt, curse under his breath, strike the metal harder than necessary. Finally, the old man spoke. "Tell me," he said quietly, "who is the strongest man in this village?" Tariq didn't even look up. "Ask anyone. They'll tell you it's me." The merchant nodded slowly. "I've crossed 40 rivers to get here," he said, "and the most powerful one I ever saw, it was also the quietest. No crashing, no rage. Just a current so steady and so certain that it cut through solid rock over 1,000 years. The angry rivers, the loud ones, the ones that flooded and thrashed, they dried up before the season ended." Tariq looked up for the first time. The merchant paid for his repair, climbed onto his wagon, and left without another word. That night, Tariq's apprentice, a boy named Soren, 14 years old, hands always trembling slightly, dropped an entire rack of finished tools onto the stone floor. The crash echoed through the forge. Soren froze, eyes down, shoulders pulled up around his ears, waiting for the storm. Tariq stood very still. Inside his chest, the familiar fire rose. The heat that always came before the words, before the voice, before the regret he carried quietly home every night and never spoke about. He breathed in, he breathed out. He walked over, crouched down beside the boy, and began picking up the tools one by one. Soren didn't move for a moment. He had never seen this before. "Pick them up," Tariq said. "Not soft, not harsh, steady. And next time, hang them lower so the rack doesn't overbalance." That was all. Soren worked beside him in silence, hands no longer trembling. Years passed. Soren became one of the finest metal workers in the region. On the day he opened his own forge, he was asked who had taught him the craft. "Tariq," he said. Then, after a pause, "But the most important thing he ever taught me wasn't about iron." "What was it?" they asked. Soren thought for a moment. "That the strongest thing a powerful man can do is pause." Tariq never became a gentle man. He remained hard, direct, intense, but he became deliberate. And the village noticed. Not loudly, the way they noticed his temper, but quietly, the way you notice when a storm that used to come every week simply stops coming. His forge became the place fathers sent their sons to learn. Not just ironwork, how to be. Self-control is not the death of your fire. It is learning to forge with it, instead of being burned by it. Now that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye, cutes.